Hi. So, why an SLP? Why a speech language pathologist? Why would we want to specialize in voice? Well, people often think that speech language pathologists only work on articulation and language, but voice is literally a part of communication. The voice of your thoughts, the voice of your needs, the voice of your wants is what we practice on a daily. Even if it's allowing a child to use an alternative communication device, we still like for them to be able to express themselves and find their own voice. And so, voice is very special to me because I was studying this for a long time before I became a speech pathologist. My background, like I've told you, is in musical theater. I was a musical theater major, then I switched to a focus track of theater. Honestly, it was because the music side of it was really difficult. I was doing what's called Theory 4, and I didn't feel like I would need that in the performing aspect of it. So I switched my track. Anyway, it was still musical theater. It's one of these diplomas up here. And I studied music. I learned how the voice worked. I practiced, I used my voice on the daily. And then later on, my mother had actually had a stroke. And when the speech pathologist in training was testing my mom, you have to do an ascending and a descending scale. So it's moving your voice up, ah, and then moving it down, ah. And we test this for neurological purposes. Anyway, I heard what she was doing and I was like, oh, I totally get that. I know that. I know how our voice works. I didn't know which cranial nerve was helping my mom, or if it were to have been impaired, what was the problem, right? What the problem was, where the stroke was in the brain. I had no idea what they were testing, but I knew that I could hear it. And the girl who was testing my mom, she couldn't hear it. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that some people couldn't. So because I could hear that, I thought, hey, I can do this. I've always been sort of an advantageous person when it comes to things like that. Like I see it and I'm like, oh, I've got that. I can do it. And lo and behold, there was a lot of school that I needed to attend before I had the same knowledge that that one individual had that was testing my mom. Anyway, years go by. I decide to apply to the program. I get into the program, which was incredibly difficult. There were over 99 candidates trying to get into this program, and only 20 of us were accepted. And 21 got accepted, something like that, and 19 graduated in our class. So I was very fortunate to be able to go through that program. And all throughout the program, I kept wondering, like, when are we going to get to voice stuff? When are we going to do this? And at the very end, the last semester, we got one class, and my professor was amazing, and I love her. I still love her. And I just didn't get enough. I wanted more and I wanted more. But when you get out of college, it's customary, just, you go into your thing and you start treating, you start doing. And though I had different people who I was working with that had the side effect to have been voice, it wasn't the main thing. And it never was. And I've had voice patients, and I've had so many neural patients and so many dysphagia. Dysphagia is swallowing problems. But I never ever got to fulfill more of voice. So this is years that have passed, and I sing on the daily with my patients, and I make videos, and I was listening to some of it and I thought, that doesn't sound like my voice anymore. My voice is a little bit different. And me being I guess I'm a nerd, I wanted to know what is going on, what is actually happening in the voice. So I started to read through some of my books, and then I thought, this just isn't enough. I want to see. I want to see my vocal cords. So thanks to social media, I've been able to look through so many different things, different reels, different shorts, and find other people, and on YouTube also, of them scoping themselves. And still, I wanted to find somebody in my town. Nobody does it. Not just for an unimpaired voice. And I thought, that might be fun. So I started reaching out to certain individuals in the community, and there's still nothing. Turns out that one of a good friend of mine who ended up going through the program and just graduated this year began to study voice, not here, but at one of the big universities. Like he was so fortunate to get this opportunity to work with some of the biggest voice people in the world. So I asked him, like, well, what do you suggest? And he said, oh, well, maybe attend a conference or something. So I started looking into that, and that's where this craziness of mine has begun. I want to learn more. I need to learn more just for fun. I don't need to do it. This is not my primary job. As you all may know, my primary job is taking care and rehabilitation of little ones right now. So we're doing a lot of articulation, a lot of language. But the voice still fascinates me. And since I have the time and the patience and the ability to go to these conferences, I want you guys to come with me and experience this journey. I'm super excited about it. And I forgot to tell you that I've gotten other voice training too. I got to do this still program or training, and that is I actually got to train with one of the master trainers, like the top trainer, and she is actually the voice coach for Madonna. So that's super cool that I got to sing with her. I got to experience that. And then I've, like I mentioned in a previous video, that I am a speak out therapist, and that is for Parkinson's. So here we incorporate the neurological aspect of speech pathology. And then I also wanted to take a orofacial myofunction class. So I am certified to do that also. It comes with a speech language pathology certification. You have to know now what you are doing when it comes to that. But because when I graduated so long ago, they didn't have that. And now they do. So I took an intensive course, and it's really great information. Some people choose to throw it under the rug. Some people utilize it on the daily. I'm finding success entering it and plugging it into my treatments right now. My little ones are starting to graduate even quicker because of the strength that they were lacking, and now they're getting it because of it. I hope you guys continue to follow along, and let's see where tomorrow takes us. Bye.